Yeah, I was a correction officer. What's up, and welcome to Hey Sarge, my journey as a correction officer in the state of Florida. Last week we talked about my journey of becoming a correction officer, but today we're going to talk about my first time going onto an actual compound. Now, the first time that I actually was going to a prison for myself, I had went to a few prisons. I had experience visiting people in prison, but it's different when you're going to work. So skip all the other stuff. It's my time to go to work. They're finna give us a little tour of the prison. You have no idea what to expect. You thinking about it, or at least I was thinking about it the whole night before. I'm like, okay, I gotta go do this. I gotta go do this. I'm thinking, I'm playing all of these scenarios like, what if this happen? What if this happen? Because you looking at TV, you hear all the stories, you see the movies, and you like, am I to be expecting this? You just don't know. So you're preparing to walk into the unknown. So the day come that I have to go and I got to get ready to walk in these gates. I got anxiety because I don't know what to think. I'm like, man, what am I doing? What if this happens? So we go up to this building. Now the prison that I started at, maximum security. I think it's 23 hours locked down a day, hour out for like yard or rec or whatever. But it's other stuff going on in the prison that people have to do, the inmates have to do. But where I was, everything was confinement, put it like that. So I pull up in the parking lot, and the car that I'm driving, I'm riding with the windows down because I'm getting the breeze, I'm riding. It was a nice day. And so when I pull up, all I hear is commotion. I'm like, dang, what's that? I just hear, like it's loud. You hear it, but you don't see nothing. I'm like, where's that noise coming from? So I park the car, and then I get ready to get out. Then I see the people. They're like outside, and they're out there exercising, doing whatever they're doing. And so now I realize, dang, they watching me because they were like, hey, hey, hey. They're trying to get your attention. So I already knew. They're scoping me out. So now it's time for me to say, all right, let me get myself together. I suited up mentally, right? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I wasn't nervous because I was. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So I go check into the admin office, and it's a group of people. I say it was at least 10 of us. Yeah, there was about 10, and they was finna give us the tour. So I connected with this one guy. We became friends, and R.I.P. He passed away a few years ago. But me and him, we connected automatically. And they took us in, and we get to this big gate. And I'm talking about like it's a gate. It's a guy right here in a tower, just like you see on the movies. But this camp, it was towers all around. It wasn't like just one. It wasn't just one. So this guy got to let us in. So he let us in, and this gate just is a massive gate. It just opened it slowly, and then it closed. It just reminded me of Law and Order when that thing go cling cling. That's how it sounded, because it just closed. But while you waiting on that gate to close, you stuck in between this gate and another gate, and you got to wait for this gate to open. So then you go in. So anybody who ever visited the prison could tell you that that's how it works. So we get through there, then we get through the process, we step inside of the building, and then there's even more gates. And then this one I'm thinking like, oh boy, this is getting real. I'm inside of here. So you don't know the setup, you don't know the layout, you don't know nothing. You just know that you in here, this gate done closed, you're inside of a prison. That's all you know. So you go through the process. It's certain things that you have to do before you can get behind the secure perimeters of certain gates. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to put too much out there, but we get in there. And this is when it got real for me. When we finally got in, and we had passed the last gate, that gate just closed. Clank, clank. I was like, oh boy. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, I don't know what to expect. So the first interaction we had with an inmate, he was a guy, and he was like working the canteen. Like that's where you can go get your food at. Um, Officers can go there and shop for food if you ain't bring no lunch. Blah blah blah. And me and the guy was talking, and this when we first got tried. The dude whistled. Yeah, he did the. I can't whistle. He was like the. So I looked at my partner and he looked at me. I said, "He talking to you?" Like he talking to you. So neither one of us like we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to react. So we didn't do nothing. So we walked and then we're walking. And I'm like, man, I say, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I say, I don't know what they expect. He was like, me either, man, me either. And now, let me tell you, this guy had been in the military. He had served in the Navy. And I'm like, man, when you in the military? Like, we learned all of this about each other real quick. And so we walking, and then you just start seeing inmates walking like, but where we were, some of them could walk and some of them couldn't. So where we were in the back, like they had inmates that wasn't on lockdown all day. They could come and go. They could walk backwards and forwards. I mean, I guess you could say there was low custody. And I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to say too much. But they just saw him walking, and I'm like, dang, they just walk around? Like, these are the questions in my head. They just walk around like that? I mean, dang, because when I think of prison, I didn't expect it to be like that. I just didn't. But then we go through more gates. I'm talking about it's a lot of gates. A lot of gates. But let me back up, because when you go inside of the building, the same thing you heard outside is totally different. Like outside, it sounds like all HE double hockey sticks done broke off. But when you get on the inside, you don't hear nothing. It is quiet. I'm talking about it is quiet. But it's a smell. It's a smell like, I can't explain it. Like, the smell is different. It's like you go to another country and it smells different. It was a different smell. I'm like, dang. So they taking us down, and where we were, the prison that we was at, it was like a hallway, and then it branch off. And then like each branch off is what they call a wing or housing pod, whatever they want to call it. But it's like, that's where the inmates are. That's where they sleep at. So when you walk in there, this is another scary thing. You are locked in that building. You are locked in that wing. You can't get out to the outside and let you out. You're locked in there. So if something happened, you at the grace of this person who's outside. That's all I'm going to say. So you go in the wing. Now, some wings you could tell like it was orderly, and then some you could tell was chaotic. I mean, you could tell who the strong officers was because the wings ran like that. It was a lot that was going on, but it was done in a way that it wasn't like just out there in the open. Like, it was an order to it. It was orderly. It was disorderly. It was orderly confusion. I guess that's how you could say it. But when we first walk on that wing, oh, you hear, hey, 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 hey. Now they're testing you. I like, you getting sized up from the time you walk in there. You getting sized up from the time you walk in the parking lot. And it's all about how you going to handle yourself. So one thing that I learned quick was, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to be nobody else. I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm not finna let nobody change me. I'm not finna let nobody sway me to do stuff. Because I don't know what made me think of that. I guess it was my maturity. I don't know, but that's what's something that I thought of right then and right there. I was like, I'm just gonna be myself. I ain't finna get caught up, because where I lived at, it was all we always heard the news from the prison. It was always in the newspaper, so it was kind of close. So it wasn't like I didn't hear the stories of the things that went on. So I guess that's what kind of made me make that decision. So they gave us a tour, and then we walked around, and it was crazy, because when you see these people in the cells, it's like, dang, I don't want to do this. I don't want to live like this. Because when you actually look at that cell and you look at how they in that cell, that make you think different. It make you think different. And then you hear how some of the officers have to turn it off. Like they don't see it. They're like, it's like, yeah, you see it, but in a lot of people's mind, this is what they chose. And I understand it. I can't say I don't, because it was a time where I saw that some people, yeah, y'all chose this. This is what y'all want. But me, I just couldn't do it. But that was like, whoa, this is real. And another thing that got me when I first walked in there, I walked past this dude's cell and it said, "Happy 18th birthday." I'm like, dang. And then like on the outside of the doors, you can see how much time they have. Like I say have because their time could change. But and this guy was 18. It said happy 18th birthday. He's still in there, and it's 2020, and I know his date was like 2056. I'm like, bro, that's your whole life. Your whole life. You spent your 18th birthday in here. You're gonna spend every birthday in here. So that was something that shocked me. I'm like, man, what I don't got myself into? That's what I'm thinking the whole time. Once I seen those cells, and then I seen that, I'm like, what I done got myself into? And then when you walking through, I mean, they're just looking at you. They looking. Everybody looking. They watching how you walk. They watching how you look. They seeing if you're scared. And I ain't gonna lie, you gonna be scared. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, in my mind, I'm like this. But on the outside, I'm probably like this. Like, I'm looking. I know I wasn't cool, calm, and collected. I know I wasn't. But I'm like, how am I going to maneuver through this? How am I going to adapt? I ain't lying. These were the thoughts I had. And another thing, I was like, I ain't finna be on no tough guy stuff. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. I said, I'm making up my mind right now, these first couple of hours. I'm making up my mind of what I'm gonna do when I'm experiencing these people in the cells. And I think that was the point of the tour. So, long story short, we went on to a couple different wings. And when you get on those wings, it was just another smell. Like, I smell it now. It's like, you don't forget that smell. It's like, and you got to eat there. You got to drink there. So, this is it. You locked up too. So, we went through a couple more cells and talked to the officers and people giving speeches, people talking, telling you what they expect, telling you what to do and don't do. And like, that was my first time in there. I could think of a whole lot of more stories I experienced when we got there. Well, the last one would be when we left that part where the wings were, where people was locked up or in confinement. We went to the cafeteria. Now, that was a challenge too. And they just showed us around the cafeteria, and then they showed us the what they call the chow hall. And when you go in the chow hall, that's where all the other inmates from the back, they come up and eat. And it's a lot of them in there. And it's not a lot of officers in there. It's a lot of them in there, and there's not a lot of officers in there. So that's where you got to really step up. I don't think that we fed child that day, but I just think we went in there to see it. So I'll tell y'all about that later. But that was my first experience in the prison. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't even know how I was going to turn out. I didn't know if I was going to stay. I didn't know if I was going to leave. But I was like, I know that I want to better myself. And this was a stepping stone and a challenge for me at the same time to kind of better myself, to get me a foundation for retirement and all of that good stuff. So I was like, I think I'm going to stick in it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see how it goes. If I don't like it, I'm out. I don't got nothing to prove to nobody. And me and the dude talked, and he was like, yeah, what you think? So, I'm moving too fast. So we leave out from the chow hall and we go out. We get outside, and it's like, that's how it felt. So me and the guy he was like, what you think? I don't know. I said, I'm going to come back. And me and him ended up getting the same shift. They had 3 shifts. It was 8 to 4, 4 to 12, and 12 to 8. Me and him ended up getting the 4 to 12 shift. And it's like, once you get there and you get a shift, you at the bottom of the totem pole. So if you get Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, like I got, that's what you get. No, I lied. He had Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I had Wednesdays and Thursdays. And in my mind, I was like, man, this one I ain't want to come here. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, I gotta put that aside now. I gotta do what's best for me and my future. And me and him got to end up getting the same shift, and we got ready to start. Like, then they actually asked us if we could start that same night, but I had already told them when I could start. So, excuse me, I wasn't ready to start. So that was my first day in prison. That was my first day working or my first experience being a correction officer. And then when we get back, we're going to talk about how I adapted, how I became who I became, how I moved, how I conducted myself, and we'll answer some questions if you guys want to. So I thank you for tuning in. I'll holler at you the next time on Hey Sarge. Peace.